Hello and welcome back to the Motorcycle Fixer channel. Today we're going to be stripping down the rest of our BMW F650GS engine, ready for us to change the output shaft that has been damaged. So stick around and you can find out how it comes apart. Cue intro. First thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this stator plate cover, and that's where our starter motor sits. So we're going to just remove this cover. I'm just going to whiz it off. These bolts have got washers on them, so that's 2, 3, 4, 'They're all the same size so far. That's good. Yeah, that's one thing BMW got right. Another one's round. These ones be the same size. Yes, very good. It helps when they're the same size, but you don't have to keep them in any order when you take them out. It is very helpful, as long as you put them together, and then you can use any of them anywhere. So there we are, that's our, that should be all of our bolts on there. So we just going to give this a tap with our plastic mallet. There we are, and off she comes. What I'm just going to do now is release the gasket, because this gasket is reusable if you don't break it. So sometimes it can just be stuck around the bolt holes like that there. There we are, and is it stuck on the bottom anywhere? No, there we are. Okay, so pull it off. Off it can come on. Just stuck in the magnets now. There we are, and as I say, our gasket is intact as well, so we can reuse that. And there's a little washer there. That's for the back of this shaft here. So when you take it off, this one was stuck to the casing, so just make sure that you don't lose that washer. I'm going to put it back on that shaft there in a minute. Okay, so there's our stator plate cover removed. All nice and clean. There's nothing to be concerned about in there, so we'll put that to the side. Next thing I'm going to do is remove this flywheel. It's a 30 mil diameter nut for the middle. This engine has got a Allen key this engine has got an Allen key cut out in the center of the crankshaft, so you can hold it and put a spanner on that, and hopefully that'll be enough to do it. But I always find these easier with our impact driver, impact drill. So let's see. I've removed the piston on this, and what will happen sometimes if you don't remove the piston, if you turn the engine over and the flywheel turns, if you don't take the piston off, the skirt of the piston will catch on the edge of your engine and it can break the piston, and sometimes it can dig into the gasket face for your base gasket as well. So I always take the piston off, and that's a reason why. That was in the previous video, so if you haven't seen that, go back and watch it. But hopefully we'll be able to remove this nut now with our impact drive. There we are, and there's our nut removed. So there was Loctite on that, so when we put it on, we'll put some Loctite on it. There's a washer. This washer is actually broken, and I don't think it's a spring washer. I'll have to check the drawings for that, because if it might just be where this has been torqued on, it split the washer. So I think I'll check the drawings, and if it's not supposed to be split, then I'm going to replace that. I think because of I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there is a twist in that washer as well. I think we'll replace that anyway. Maybe it is a spring washer, and that's why, and then there's a twist in it to stop this from undoing. But with the Loctite, I'm not really sure. So that doesn't look like a, let me put something light behind it, it's hard to do with the thing. See, that doesn't look like a cut split, it looks like as if it's broken by looking at the crack. So I think we've replaced that. Right, I need to flip the engine over now so that we can get the bolts out from the other side. So I'm going to remove anything that from this side that can fall off. So I'm going to remove this washer that we talked about, and there's the sleeve then on that shaft as well, and then I'm going to remove this starter motor gear. Nothing else then will come off. This gear won't come past the flywheel, and nothing else. There's nothing else on there. There's nothing on here to fall off. We just check everything, make sure there's nothing we can lose. Okay, so we're going to put these together in the box so that we don't lose them. I'm waiting for a flywheel puller for this, so I can't find mine as usual. So right, we're going to put those little box out the way, and then we're going to flip our engine over this side, and then we can start to take off this clutch side. I'm not sure if there's an idle gear on the back of the output shaft, so I think we're probably going to need to remove that before we can pull the shaft out from this side. So right, so we're going to move this out the clutch cover first. I think there's a couple of the bolts go all the way through into the back, so we're going to whiz these off. There's a long one. And two long ones. As you can see, these ones have washers on them as well. short. Make sure you don't lose the washers. That's too long. 2 short. 3 short. 4 short. 5 short. And another long one. So there's 3 long ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 short ones. And the long ones are the same length and the short ones are the same length, so again that's a good thing. Right, so we're going to give this a tap and see if we can get it off. Whoop! Drop the engine. Right, next time we're back. It's only been a second few, but I had to charge the battery because the battery went dead. Okay, so we're getting this clutch cover off. Out the clutch cover. I'm going to try and get this off again with breaking the gasket. It's a little bit stiff. Oh, it's okay, there's a rubber gasket in this one, so I just need to get that off where it's stuck. Just be careful not to mark the gasket faces, I should imagine. This bit where it's stiff is where these lugs are. They've given you lugs by you to lever it off, and that's where the hollow dowel is. So it's stuck on the hollow dowel. Right. You know, there's an O-ring around this one, look. See? It's not sitting very proud of the face there though, so I think I'll probably buy a new one of them anyway. See, that dowel there is where it was stuck to. There's one in the top, one in the bottom. It won't come out, so I don't know why I got this big rubber. Right. None of this is loose. So if I turned the engine over now, I wouldn't lose anything. Nothing's loose, so okay. There we are. So that's out the clutch cover. Gonna put the bolts in there to keep them safe. So here's how it in the clutch cover. So I'll just undo the bolts all the way around the outside. This one here has a copper washer on it because that's where you drain your water pump. It's your water pump. So we're just going to undo these all the way down. There we go, that's all of them. There's also a copper washer on this top one here. On this one. I'm not sure why there's a copper washer on that one. I'm not sure what that's to drain, to be honest with you, but okay, and the rest of them just got the steel washers. Actually, the ones on this one haven't got washers. So there's a copper one on this one there, which is to drain your oil pump, and there's a copper one on this one here, which I'm not 100% sure of. Leave comments down below if you know why there's a copper washer on that one. I've never actually worked on one of these in a bike, so I'm not sure. So there we are then. That's all our bolts undone. So now we're going to tap it off. Remember to only tap on where there are lugs on the castings, like that. There's one there, there's one on the back by here. Should be one on the front. Yeah, there's one on the front there as well. Let me just show you that in a minute. Okay, as we've discussed in previous videos, you should only tap on where there's, see that lug there? Tap on that, and you can tap on this bit here, and there's one in the front. I just saw it somewhere. You can tap on that bit there. What you don't want to be doing is putting a screwdriver between the gasket faces and leaving it off, because you'll damage the gasket faces. So where these lugs are, that's where you want to be tapping. I mean, you can tap underneath here as well, as long as there's a thick piece of casting. Again, don't use a big hammer unless you have to. There's a plastic mallet like that, and then that will help you break it out. I just noticed when I went around there that there's a bolt there that I've missed, so that wouldn't have come off anyway. Okay. So let's spin this one out. Like so. I think we're going to remove all these bolts. Let's see if they're all the same size. Fair play to BMW. They are all the same size, so you don't have to keep them in order. So that is actually by BMW quite a good design. There we are. Oh, and another one there. All the same size. Excellent. Well done. Okay, now we should be able to tap off this cover. So here we are. Give it a tap. There. Tap there. We should be able to just pull this off. And there it is. So, as always, we're going to check for loose washers, anything that could fall out when we turn it over. Again, on the engine side, check everything, make sure that nothing will fall off when you turn the engine over. Okay, it just saves a lot of bother when you come to put it back together. If there's something that have dropped out, then the engine could make some silly noises and you wonder why. Again, it's another reason for us to keep everything that we take out of an engine in a box, because if you've got something left over, you know you've missed something. So, and that's why you always check the shafts for washers or spacers that may fall out. There's nothing on any of this, so that's good. So there's our inner clutch cover. And the gasket come off whole as well, so that's really good. So looking at our engine now, this is our output shaft that we've got to change. Okay, so we're not going to be able to pull the gearbox out without removing. Trying to get that back where it was. We're not going to get the output shaft out without removing, there's an idle gear on the back of it there, and the clutch is also obviously on the back of the input shaft of the gearbox. So we need to remove this and remove the idle gear from the back of the output shaft. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to remove this clutch at the basket, and then we're going to see what's on the end of the output shaft. Right, moving the clutch. So I'm going to remove 3 every don't drop off like that. And the reason for just doing the 3 is that you're supposed to let this plate out quite evenly, sort of a bit at a time. If you leave one on it, then the plate can kink over. So you're supposed to do it evenly. Oh, Let me also, I've rescued those 3. They're all the same, so they can go down a bolt. Right, these ones now we're just going to do a bit at a time. So and then the plate, actually that's not true with this one, because the springs are holding it in this way. It doesn't really matter. That's if the springs are on the inside of a different type of clutch. So these ones you can just whiz them out. Don't worry about doing them in order. Okay, here we're in our box. And for the middle of the clutch to come out. So we're going to lift it all out in one go and keep everything together. There's a small ring in there, just that will fall off. There's a ring around the outside, a small one, and if you turn it over now, that will fall off, so we're not going to turn it over. So there's the clutch complete. And if you keep it like that, then that's how it goes back on. Let's have a look at this wear plate. Like I say, I'm not sure this engine has done much work, because if you look at the wear plate, these are in good condition. There's hardly any wear in those, I think. So, just going to wrap it up. Put that in a box. There's a 27mm nut now in the centre of our clutch. So again, we're going to use our impact driver and try and get it off like that. You can hurt yourself sometimes. I always actually hurt myself. If you've seen my other videos, you know what I'm like. Let's think about this a minute. I don't really want to impact and break anything, so let's try and hold it first, and then if it hurts, we'll see if we can do something else. Let's just check it's not left hand thread that is Loctite on it. I think we'll warm that up first. Okay, so just going to try and just warm the nut up a bit. I've just got my gas boil. Try and focus the heat on the nut and melt the out. and it is coming, but the battery's gone on my drill now. If it isn't the battery on the camera, it's the battery on the drill. We're so reliant on batteries nowadays, aren't we? Waiting.
You wonder whether or not.
Right, it's been on charge now for half an hour. So let's warm it up again. Hopefully that's enough to loosen our nuts. Try and hold that without burning myself and go. Ow! Here we are. Woohoo! Don't pick the nut up when it's hot. Okay, so we can remove our nut. On the underside of the nut, there is a step, and the step side goes on because they fit so that it doesn't bind with the splines on the end. One thing I forgot to show you was that the washer underneath the nut it's a interference washer, so you've got to bend the tab on the washer back over before you take the nut off. So the tab on the washer is bent up to stop the nut undoing itself, and that's bent up on there. So before you take the nut off, you've got to bend that away from the nut, and then it makes it a lot easier to take the nut off. Okay, so now we can pull our inner clutch basket off. That's the ring that I was telling you about earlier, this ring. Make sure that you don't lose that, because that's part of your clutch. So we can put that in there too. And then we've got our outer clutch basket. So there's a washer down inside there, and you've got to rotate that so it's in line with the splines to get it off. And see, if it's not in line with the splines, there's a groove in the shaft, and if it's not in line, it won't come off. So that's your spline washer. Then it's your outer basket. Make sure then that there's no spacers that are going to come off. We've got two roller bearings, so they go on that shaft. There's a big one on the outside and a thinner one on the inside. Okay, so that's the two. So we're going to put them back in here the way they come off, and hopefully we won't lose them. And then there is a washer. Right, let me put these just into box a second. There is a washer then on top of the bearing. So again, we're going to take this off, make sure we don't lose it. Because if we're going to pull that out, let me turn the engine off. I've said it 100 times today, I expect. So we're going to take that off, and we're going to keep that in with the clutch. Now what I'll sometimes do, and I'm going to do it this time,
I think it's that conceptual element that's really come to bear here, using what they've got in a really effective way to generate a very high tempo of activity against the enemy striking back.
What I'm going to do with these clutch parts is I'm going to put them on a cable tie in order that they came off, like that. And so then I know which order, what goes together and which order they came off in. Don't drop stuff all the time, man. Right, so there we are. Keep those together, keep them in order. I know that they go with the clutch. If I had longer cable ties, I'd cable tie it right through the centre of my basket, but I've only got a small one here, so I can in the box then.
in this conflict.
keep it all safe together. Then for us to take our output shaft off, we need to remove this idle gear from the end of it. As you can see, that's our output shaft, which goes through, and on the other end of that, if I turn it, you can see, on the other end of that then is this idle gear. So for us to be able to pull that out, we need to take it off. So we're going to get our circuit spanner, we're going to remove this circuit from the end, like that. Then there's a washer, and then our idle gear. And then we're going to check the end of the bearing to make sure there's no washers on there, which is not. And then I'm going to get another cable tie and cable tie that together. So we cable tie that together, make sure that we don't lose our circlip and our washer. So there we are. None of this in here now is loose to fall off, so we're going to turn our engine over onto the other side, like so. And then I'm just waiting now for, and now I'm waiting for my flywheel puller, which I'm waiting to arrive in the post. And once we take that off, we can split the engine, and then we can pull our output shaft off. It's been a couple of weeks since the last video, although it's just a few seconds for you. I've been waiting for a flywheel puller to come because I can't find my other one. So for this F650 engine is a M38 by 1.5 flywheel puller. I've bought this one off eBay. The only problem is I can only get it to go on like one thread or something, and there's no flats on this one from JMP. There's no flats on it to try and get it to go on further, so I'd have to try just screwing it on one thread, but I don't really like doing it like that because it's got a tendency, if this is on there really tight and that's only on by one thread, then there's a chance you could strip the threads on the end, on the actual flywheel itself, which is not very good, to be honest with you. The good flywheel pullers have flats on it, you can put a spanner on and tighten it, but this one, I don't know, it wasn't exactly cheap. It was about the right price for a puller. It's about £15, something like that. So, but this one doesn't want to go on too far, so we're going to take a chance with it. Let's see if we can get it off, because I've been waiting a couple of weeks now already. So there we are. I'm going to use my impact gun and try and just impact it off, hopefully. And no, as I feared, it wasn't on by as enough threads. So and now I don't have to get it on at all. The ones with the flats across this part, you can put a spanner on that then and hold the flywheel while you tighten that nut as well, so you can use two spanners. It's a pretty poor flywheel puller, to be honest with you. We'll try and put it on, see if we can get it on further with this pipe grips. It's just not, oh no, it's just too tight. Oh, that's disappointing. I'm just going to put a screwdriver between those gears a minute just to see if I can get it back off. Right. With a bit of filing and a bit of thread cleaning, I managed now to get this to go on more than one thread, so hopefully we'll be able to, if I can get it starting again. So hopefully now that's enough for it to not pull off. That should be plenty, to be honest with you. So that's about, I don't know, three or four threads now, so hopefully should be enough. Wish me luck. There we are. And there comes our flywheel. And our spread clutch is working good. Or one-way clutch. There we are. So there we are. That's our flywheel removed. Just check that the woodruff key doesn't just fall out, so because we don't want to lose it. Now this gear will come off, so we're going to take that off. There's no loose washers on the back of that at all. So there we are. We're going to put. Now we should be able to split the cases. So we'll take the oil filter cover off first. I thought I was going the wrong way there. With this back again on its aluminium. If you go the wrong if you go the wrong way, you will just strip the threads out. So yeah, there's our oil filter cover with the 3 bolts. We can put that in our case, and then let's get this blue roll ready. We'll remove our oil filter. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on. Screwdriver. There she is. I might just drop that straight in the bowl underneath with the oil. There we are. There's an O-ring around there. This one is still sitting proud, so that's okay. Soak the oil up. Oh, there we are, the oil. The O-ring has come off. There we are. So good. Put that with the cover. Try and soak up as much of this oil up as we can. Right, now we're going to take our crankcase bolts. There's 2 inside here that were behind the starter gears, so let's have those 2 out. 1, 2. Those 2 both same size. Then we've got one on the front here. That's a short one. There. Ooh, it's the same size as that one. One on the bottom. Same size, that's good. Another one same size. Let's go. There we go. And there's one hiding in the middle, in between there. Which is a long one again. So that one and that one had long ones in it. And the rest was short. And I think that that's all of them. There's one there. There's nothing between there and there though. So let's just check everything. Sometimes there are cases where you'll have all the bolts on one side, but then you'll have one coming through from the other side. So I'm just checking now that there's nothing through from the other side here. It looks like there may be. Luckily we've got a little bowl underneath. See. There's two, I don't know, can you see them there? There's two in the bottom of our oil filter housings. The sneaky little devils. So there we are. So let's have those two out there. 1 and 2. And they are two of the short ones. There we are. If you're trying to split your casings and you haven't taken that oil filter out, then there'll be an answer. Okay then, and that should be it now. I think that should be it. You can't let me know in the comments if I've missed anything because it'll be too late. Okay, I can't see any other bolts in here, so we're just going to give it a tap with our plastic mallet. That sounds hollow, so I think we may be clear. Remember, only to tap on the tabs that they provide. Give it a tap, tap, tapping on our tabs. There's a lock there. Okay. So let's see. There we go. Okay, and there we are. There's our engine split in half. old gasket. As always, check the backs of the bearings for little spaces that may be stuck to them. A little spring plunger there, but that's not loose, so that's okay. Okay, there's our engine split. Now there's a little plastic bit here that needs to sit on. See, there's a pin there, and that plastic bit needs to sit on there like that. So make sure you don't lose that. And this gear change arm has come loose, so we just need to make sure that we put that back in correctly. So that's great. That's our BMW F650 bottom end strip down. The next video is going to be taking the output shaft out and replacing it with a new second hand one. Then we're going to put all this back together properly and rebuild the bottom end and see how far we go. With that, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps my channel out. And if you haven't already, subscribe. And if you want to stay up to date with what's happening with this engine and want to see the next video, then subscribe and you'll hit the notification button and you'll get notified when the next video comes out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.